Hey, Kobe.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you with. What's going on, guys? My name is Barry.
Hey, this is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. What's going on, guys? We're on our last movie of space travel.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I remembered more space in this than apparently there was.
Did too. And they seem to, get to the planet much quicker than I remembered.
I think it was because I was melding this movie and Covenant together.
Oh, okay.
But I forgot that you haven't seen Covenant?
I have not.
So spoiler alert. Not really a spoiler. It's like in the first 5 minutes. James Franco was in that movie. But he dies right away. But you know who was really good in Covenant was actually Danny McBride. His like brash attitude actually really fits the role of a space pilot. Not like a regular pilot. Because, every time I think about a regular pilot, it's Tom Cruise.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And not Danny McBride. So when I first watched this movie, it was like a Redbox movie.
Okay.
I saw the trailers for it, and it's sad to say that I wasn't interested, even though I knew it was like a sci-fi film.
Okay.
But it had like really big names during the time. It had Michael Fassbender, Charlize Theron,
right,
Idris Elba. Those were like the big ones. There was Benedict Wong, who looked really like skinny in this movie.
Yeah, he did.
I wish he was that skinny like in the Marvel films. I don't know if they asked him to bulk up for the Marvel films or.
But he's getting a little older. Maybe it's just like
he's older now. But this movie came out like what 2014.
Maybe it was
2012. Sorry.
2012. Okay, yeah, okay, that sounds about right.
Sounds like 8 years ago. So you gotta pass Wong. But yeah, I don't know why it didn't make me want to watch this film, because I rewatched the trailer and I was like, oh, that's a movie I definitely would have watched.
Right. Oh yeah. No, I saw it in theater like opening weekend. I was stoked. Like it was like I love the Alien movies, and when I was this is an Alien prequel.
Wait. So did they market it as an Alien prequel?
They marketed it as from the team that brought you Alien, and here's a space adventure with H.H. Geiger. And so like everybody was like, oh yeah, this is another Alien movie, but they're like, it's not Alien.
Okay, so rewatching it today, there's so many things that I should have noticed. Like in the beginning, the most chameleon-esque actor, Guy Pearce, his hologram shows up with Whaling Corporation, and I was like, oh, duh.
Right. Yep.
Or even in the caverns where the space goo was in. Yeah. There was like the memorial to an alien queen.
Yep.
Or a xenomorph queen. I was like, how did I miss this? Because when I got to the end of the film, I was like, oh my God. It's aliens. Like really what should have tipped me off, the last thing is the gigantic face hugger.
Right. I wish I didn't know. I feel like I actually enjoyed it more watching it today than I did originally, because I think knowing it was a kind of an alien-ish prequel, I was looking for those things.
Oh, okay.
And so I spent a lot of the movie I know where this is going, so
let's get to it.
Let's look for the things that are going to lead to
the face huggers and the
face
xenomorphs.
Huggers. Yeah, and then it ended up going in a totally different direction with the engineers and stuff like that, and it was really much more about that than it was about
anything else.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but like that's what
if I wasn't expecting it, I kept expecting there to be an alien.
Yeah.
And so then it was like, oh, what the hell are these engineer things? I don't know.
Well, but like it's what a good prequel should do is explain how it started rather than focus on what we already know, right?
Yeah. But it doesn't really explain how it started. It just adds more questions to the alien stuff that was never answered.
Well, okay, so I think Ridley Scott, I think what he was doing in this is like totally omitting the existence of predators in this universe.
Oh, right. And that, to me, that is completely fine. I have no problem with that.
Because, I mean, the Predator versus Alien thing was not, like, of his creation. It was more of, like, a fanfic that just came to life, just like Jason versus Freddy.
Right, yeah.
Because people kept wanting it and wanting
right,
it.
and even though there was always, like, the rumors of maybe the Predators made the aliens originally so that they had something to fight, that was always just, that was a... Like a comic movie where you're like, hey, I like the comic series. And I'm going to like the movie, but it's a different universe. Yeah. That's kind of how I felt that was.
Well, I mean, I think these rumors didn't start until Predator 2 with Danny Glover, where when he was fighting the Predator in New York, when he goes into his ship, there's a xenomorph head in there.
Right.
And what I think that was more just like maybe the props guy or the director guys like paying a like homage to like the Alien movie.
Totally, yeah.
And then people were like, "Oh my god, it's the same universe," and then it just stemmed from there.
Yep, like really early Easter eggs,
right? And so like I think that's what happens is like when you give fanboys an inch, they will take the entire fucking mile.
Yep. So true.
But yeah, when I watched this, I totally was oblivious to all the signs that this was an Alien movie. And I was watching this with a couple of friends, and then when it got to the end with the Xenomorph 1.0 popping out of the engineer, we were like, "Oh my god!" I think this was like internet spoilers, where like Facebook wouldn't talk about like movies so much or all that stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
I mean, I had to Redbox this movie. This wasn't online yet. But yeah, man, I really. Like if you even if you just omitted like the alien stuff, like this wasn't about aliens, this was just about like a scientific group trying to find out who engineered us, it still would have been an interesting movie nonetheless.
Right, yeah. And I mean, really, if you would have just removed the xenomorph at the end, it would have not been an alien movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, so like when I saw the face hugger, I was like, oh man, that's like Alien. So like, you know, okay, so did you watch like Alien came out in what, 1978, right?
Yeah.
Did you get to watch that in the theaters, or were you still too young?
No, I was actually not my parents rented it on VHS, and I was not allowed to watch it, and then I got home from school before they got home from work, and so I came home and watched it, and then had like nightmares because I was too young. My parents were pretty strict on the amount of TV, the quality of TV. Like I could watch like raunchy like late night comedies with my dad, fine, but like horror stuff, like people getting killed, bloody stuff, like they were pretty
strict on that.
Well,
yeah, it also doesn't help that like your mother was a scholar. But I'm surprised you even had a TV in the house.
I did. I had like super limited TV privileges. I got like a TV in my room for my 15th birthday. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like I was already well teens by then. I wasn't till we had gotten like maybe when I was about 12. There was a like a satellite antenna that you could get that you could just get HBO on, and so we got like just HBO to add to our 5 channels of network TV. But yeah, I was probably 16 by the time they got cable. Like there was no.
Yeah, and by that time you're busy working, going to school,
right, and then started having
a life,
right. doing extracurriculars at school and stuff like that, and so
different times, people, different times. Yeah. You could also ask on our Twitter account if when did Kobe make the switch from black and white to to color?
My first TV was a black and white TV.
No, man, my parents did not care. Like my mom was a single mom, if you guys didn't know, but she was just way too busy to like monitor what I was watching. So I watched so many horror films when I was younger. And I'd always like be scared, but then like when I went to sleep I never had like nightmares or anything like that. Oh man, I also watched like movies I should not be watching. I remember one of the movies I remember the most as a kid was do you remember that movie with Michael J. Fox, John Leguizamo, the Emilio Estevez, I believe? It's like where they're in Vietnam and they're like Vietnamese soldiers, and like what I remember about that movie is that like his squad starts to sexually assault like a Vietnamese girl and he like saves her.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was like a really intense movie for me to watch at 6. Cause my uncle was like one of those uncles that'll give you a beer when you like turn 12. And so he just didn't care what I watched. So like whatever he was watching, I was just watching. Like he didn't even bother like to be like, oh, close your eyes. Don't watch this part. Oh man. So like when people would tell me like I'm not allowed to watch this, like what do you mean?
Right.
But I do remember watching Aliens, and like one of the most iconic scenes is like the scene I remember the most is the chest burster scene. Which was like, whoa, like for the time, especially for the time for practical effects, it was just, whoa.
Yeah, it still holds up pretty well.
Man, practical effects, that's why.
Yep.
You know what doesn't hold up in here is the face hugger on the engineer. Like, it looked too CGI for me to like really.
Right.
Like, and I'm surprised it doesn't hold up because it's like, it was made in 2012.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think they dropped the ball in there. But then again, they have a movie called Aeon Flux and Ultraviolet. So.
I saw both of those in theaters, too.
Those are visually super bad. They are sci-fi quality. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to get into just like a really quick view of the movie plot, because this is a pretty long movie. It's 2 hours, so I'm just gonna try to hit points. I know I've been doing a pretty bad job about that. But you know, this time I'm gonna do points. We're gonna keep it under 20 minutes, all right?
Right, because there's a lot of unanswered questions. So like if we skim through this pretty quick, then we can go into like what things mean.
Yeah, or like
because I don't know, and I kind of just want to hear what you think.
Okay, so we start off the movie. I think they're shooting like New Zealand. It looks very Lord of the Ringsy landscape, and this is gonna be a really early Earth.
Yeah.
Right, because there's no life on this planet yet, but you know there's this engineer, or like what I put on the Twitter, a very mammoth of a man,
right?
Who is like milky skinned.
And a big flying saucer.
In a big flying saucer, yeah. And this dude has like a 12-pack. I wanted to know.
He's got a long stomach, so you know, it's got to.
I wanted to know if this was an actual person or if a lot of it was like put on.
It's got to be.
Right, because that is a marble specimen. But yeah, he disrobes and he's standing over a waterfall, and then he opens up this little ball thing that has a liquid in it.
Yeah.
And you know, looks like tea. He drinks it like tea, and then he drinks it, and it starts to corrode his body, and then his body falls into the water, and we see like a really cool like sequence where it's like mutating its DNA and RNA and all that stuff.
Yeah. And
then just presumably that's just how life starts.
Right.
Because it breaks down its DNA into the water and then I guess mutates over time into what we are now.
Yep.
Oops, sorry. It's cold. Okay. And so we move forward to not the present because it's like what 2091,
something like that. Yeah, it was like 50 years in the future. Well, 91, more than that. But yeah, it was like something. Like I think 91 was when they're in space. So it was like
when they
85 or something.
Okay,
2085.
Yeah,
but either way, it's
well into the future.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if they're gonna go into the space travel, that we can't even get to Mars, so it's way into the future. I mean, realistically, this should be like 3050, 3500 AD or something like that. But yeah, and then so we get our two, well, not our two main characters, but one of our main characters, Shaw and Holloway.
Yeah.
There are a couple of researchers, and then they've been discovering paintings and etchings and carvings all around the world, but they all depict the same
giant man pointing at a constellation that isn't in our sky.
Right. And so they gather the money, they get Wayland Corp to fund their travel because they're saying that, well, obviously they are inviting us to this system.
Right. Yeah, they wouldn't put it in all these places if it wasn't if they weren't letting us know where they were from.
Yeah, and especially because like all of these like civilizations with the paintings and carvings that they're finding, they're all spread out throughout history with no contact with each other.
Yeah, right.
And so it must mean something, right? There's more than once is a coincidence. I mean, something. There's a saying in there. And so they end up going onto the space travel. We get a shot of Michael Fassbender as David the robot.
Right.
But at this point, totally didn't know he was a robot. I thought he was just like, there's a movie with Norman Reedus and the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy where Star-Lord first introduces himself. The black guy. He's like, "Who are you?" Star-Lord.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a movie with them too, and then like in that movie they're switching off like shifts of like people maintaining the shift.
Oh, okay.
As they travel. So that's what I thought Michael Fassbender was, but I was like, oh, that's a really lonely like time doing it all by yourself, but then later on you find out he's a robot.
And see, and since knowing it was a Alien prequel, I just assumed that every Alien movie's got a synthetic person in it, so that was just the person who was piloting the ship. So just kind of assumed that.
But it was really cool because like at this sequence or like this scene really like humanized him, because he's like watching movies, he's eating, he's like styling his hair, and just things that you're doing when you're bored.
Right. No, definitely. It was definitely more of a synthetic, like a almost like an human. AI than like Bishop was in Aliens, where he was definitely a computer.
Yeah. So yeah, but that whole portion of the movie was pretty cool to me because it kind of confused me, humanized. It made you feel for David, even though like when you found out he was a robot, he was like, oh, he's a robot with feelings.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so they get into orbit of the planet that they need to go to, and so everyone wakes up. This is kind of where you get an introduction of everybody. You get Fifield, who's like this this punk rock looking Irish guy who's a geologist.
Yeah.
You get the guy who kind of looks like the dude from Big Bang Theory, who's a biologist.
Right.
You get introduced to Charlize Theron, who's like doing push-ups. But then, like, okay, when she's doing push-ups and it's a close-up, it looks like she's doing really good push-ups. But when we get to the far-away shot, she's only doing half push-ups.
She's coming out of cryosleep. She's working the muscles a little bit. She's just stretching them out. She's not exercising really.
I know, but it's just like, oh, those are half push-ups. You get introduced to Idris Elba, who's the captain of the ship, and so everyone prepares to land on this planet that's one of the only that is the only livable. Well, it's actually a moon. It's always a moon in these movies, but
right.
But it's like a livable moon. But then, like when they get to it, like the air is unbreathable. So can you really call that livable?
Right. It was carbon dioxide
It's like super
was
high.
too high. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like that's why you can't barbecue inside because it releases too much carbon dioxide.
Right. Yep. Keeps your body from absorbing the oxygen.
Yeah. But as they're landing on the ship, Holloway says like, "Oh, God doesn't create in straight lines." First of all, what does he know about God's plan?
Right, because there's this like a valley that has a couple straight lines to a not natural looking.
Building.
It's not really a building, but
like
it is
structure.
It is a structure that is. I am almost like if you were flying over like Machu Picchu or Egypt or something, and you saw that, you were like, "Well, that doesn't look natural." I mean, it looks like a man-made mountain. Pyramid.
And then they asked him to scan it. It was like, is it a natural thing? And I just thought it was like a stupid question.
Right.
But the geologist does say like, I don't know that, but I know it's hollow. So, obviously people can go inside and out of it. They all gear up pretty much to start to explore this structure.
Right.
Right. And then the geologist has like this really cool like mapping tech.
That was fantastic. That's like my favorite part of the movie.
Well, like when he starts howling, he's like, these puppers can map it out. But it was just
such a cool idea. I was like, whoever comes up with that, they're gonna be,
oh man, millionaire, easy.
Yeah,
just because it maps out. It's so cool because it does like map it out and all that stuff. But yeah, and then they start to explore the caverns. You could tell David is very menacing. And they address it in the second movie, which is really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they address how uneasy he makes people feel because of how realistic he is. But yeah, he has his own plans, but they start to search the cave. They run across a hologram that's playing back memories, which I would have freaked out. Like,
right. I wasn't sure if it was memories or if it was kind of like a video surveillance that then there's not a TV screen, so it just kind of plays it back like as a hologram.
But then that's like set up throughout the whole thing. Right?
Yeah, they're aliens and they've got technology.
They're aliens and
it
stuff.
Could happen.
They have a stasis pod that could last you 2,000 years.
Yeah, I mean that would be an interesting like sneak it in when you're with your girlfriend kind of camera.
But yeah, and then they run into this chamber where they see a dead body.
Yes,
a headless dead body. One of my favorite lines come in here where Fifield, the geologist, is like, "I'm a geologist. I love rocks. I don't have anything to help you with this ancient giant body."
Right.
So I'm leaving.
Yes. So there's two dumb parts in this movie that don't make any sense, and they like are bad enough they pulled me out of the movie for a minute.
Okay.
The first one is at this part when the biologist says, "I don't want to hang out here with the giant dead body. I'm leaving with the geologist."
Yeah.
It's the biologist. That is the person you expect to be like, "Oh my God, this is new life. I have to study this."
Also, like it kind of like made you like it kind of pulled you out of his character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting too. I was like, why is he leaving?
Right.
This is the reason why he's here.
And then 5 minutes later, something else happens. We'll get to it when I get.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so they open this door and it obviously messes up the atmosphere, just like how you can't like leave the Declaration of Independence on normal air.
Right. Yeah, I felt like it was like, they opened the fridge door and then they left it open and it warmed up and like your food starts getting moldy.
Which was really cool. Like, there's like science in this whole thing where like it starts to deteriorate the rest of the room. There's like these vases in there that start to sweat and melt. The head that's in there is perfectly preserved. And when they they date it, it's like 2,000 years old. So just imagine like all the
right.
But they end up having a storm. Ends up happening, and then they have to retreat back. But they want to take the head back. not a good idea. David takes David takes one of the vases back.
Also, sneaks it.
Right?
Yeah, because they're like, don't touch that. And he's like, I won't. And as soon as they turn around, he's like, I'm going to put this in my bag.
Calloway says something pretty interesting where he says, this is just another tomb.
Yeah.
Because he's like one of the characters. He wants to talk to his creators. But then like the way he talks to David, who, you know, like David says, like, well, like, why did you guys create me? Because we could. You know, like, and then David notes, how disappointed would you be if that's the same exact response that you got?
Right, exactly.
The guy's a total douche.
Yeah, and for some reason, he just, I mean, I know David's a robot, but man, he gives attitude to David every single time they talk.
It's like Will Smith in iRobot.
Yes, exactly.
But then, like, you know, Will Smith had a reason.
Right. Yeah, in this one, he's just a douchebag.
Yeah, he's just a douche. But yeah, they end up going back into the station. They barely make it, where Shaw accidentally drops the head, and then David comes out to save them during this 200-mile-per-hour windstorm.
Right.
Oh man!
And it's another one of those scenes where you're actually it's almost there to kind of show off how in control and how strong David is.
Yeah.
Because they're getting like whipped around in the wind, and he like latches on like a tether and just kind of like walks out, grabs them, brings them in.
Well, I mean, he has to be heavy, right? That's what I'm thinking. I mean, he is a robot.
I didn't even really think about that. That's yeah.
Yeah, and so like I did like the part where she absolutely had to get the head.
Yes.
You know, it's very like she's a scientist. This is a discovery. It's very on point with her character, which is nice.
Right. Both the science side and the religion side.
Right. And so they get into the station where they're going to perform a biopsy or autopsy on this thing. One thing that bothered me here is like this is a room filled with scientists and nobody is wearing like a containment suit or anything.
There is bad science. I mean, they collected these people because they're the greatest scientists that money could buy to go and discover this planet and this stuff. And then, like, they immediately are like, there's oxygen in the caves. Let's take off our helmets. What? There's black goo and like on these vases. Let's touch it with our naked fingers. You know, it irritated me a little.
Right.
Being both my parents scientists, I was like, no, you're not even wearing safety goggles.
Right, yeah, and then so like even with me, I'm nowhere near like science and all this stuff, but I know procedures, all right. And so yeah, they're dissecting this head, and they inject some sort of adrenaline into it, and it starts twitching, and there's like mold on it or something, and I was like, that's how you get viruses.
Yes.
But you know, it actually just ends up blowing up.
Right. No, luckily, they get it behind the quarantine screen before it explodes, or else. But
if I was there, I'm like, nope, you have to burn that entire quarantine thing.
Yep.
Because I watch Life.
So while they're doing that, at the same time, the captain of the ship is like, "Hey, whatever happened to Rock Guy and Mr. Biology?" And they're like, "Oh, they didn't make it back." And then they flash to the caves, and so I don't know if it just made these two people look incredibly stupid. But you have the biologist who's scared of the new life, so he runs from it. Mm-hmm. And then the geologist, who is in charge of mapping the caves, gets lost in the caves.
See, this is what happens. Technology makes you lazy.
So that, again, was like, the geologist is lost?
All right, well, hold on. He's not a cartographer. He's a geologist.
He is also a cartographer. They're his balls. He created them. He makes a big deal about how those are his and this is his invention and how he knows rocks, but everybody else
makes it out.
Just walks cleanly out of the cave, and somehow he's like, I don't know where I am. Okay, rant over.
No. But yeah, so we do catch up back to them, and for some reason they go far east, in the far opposite direction where one of his puppers was picking up a life signal.
Right.
And so they end up going into the same room that they found the head in, and they're like, man, what's all this black goo? And then like earlier you see that there's actually worms in this room. Worms in this room. From when they first met in there.
Yes.
But now this black goo is all over the floor, and it's actually mutated these worms. And so the geologist notices it and is like, what's that? And it kind of like, it pops up like a cobra.
Yeah.
Very cobra-like. And now the biologist wants to act all sciencey. And it was like, no, it's so pretty. But like,
yeah.
You should recognize like warning signals.
You know when in a movie when somebody's doing something dumb and you're just like, he needs to die. That was the biologist, and then the worm eats him, and I'm just like immense satisfaction because I was like, he was an idiot.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you should know like warning signals. This thing is like sizing you up. It opens up its flaps, which I presume is like a warning.
Right.
Like, don't get closer. Yeah, it clamps down.
Yeah.
Geologist tries to
when you stick your hand towards a cobra and it puffs up, you don't go, oh, he likes me, let me pet his head.
So just another dumb science move. During this whole time, they do lose contact with Idris Elba because he has told Charlize Theron that he's like, hey, you don't have to come and make small talk if you want to get laid. So smooth. And then he asks her if she's a robot, and then she does like this little very girlish smile and is like, my room 15 minutes,
Yep.
Come find out how much of a robot I but we get to the next morning. The storm has passed, but they haven't been able to make contact with them, and so they go back into the caves to before we get to the morning, David opens up the vase that he gets, sees a black goo in it,
right,
and wants to see what happens if he introduces it to a biological organism,
right,
or just a living organism.
Yeah.
And this is when he says like big things happen with small beginnings or whatever like that.
Yeah.
It's very ominous. Definitely would have seen him with his finger in my drink though. Not the smoothest robot.
He's a robot. He's not used to serving drinks. We'll go with that. But I thought it was kind of clever. It was almost as if he asked permission, because right before he dips his finger in the guy's drink, he's like, what would you do to know the truth? And the guy's like, anything. I would do anything to know the truth. And he's like, well, let's drink to that. Boop.
Yeah. You gotta have boundaries, man. But no, when he hands it to him, like, I'm pretty sure he sees him put his finger in his drink.
Right, but he's a robot. He's clean and sterile. He probably doesn't have alien goo on the tip of his finger that he got from a vase that we didn't see him take.
And then so we also see like, what's it called? Like Holloway goes to Shaw's room. Again, very douchey. He's playing out the arrogant scientist. But he says like, oh, why you can take off that cross, like we met our makers. It's not that hard to make life. But then like, this is where you find out that Shaw is barren.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he really should have known. And then they have sex.
And he does know, but he just makes a joke.
A careless remark. And
it hits home for her where he didn't mean it like that, but it's...
Well, because he makes such light of it. Like, he's like, it's so easy to make life.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they end up having sex, which, like, I really didn't enjoy the sex scene. I really enjoy sex scenes, but this one felt a little too cringy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's, like, it's too real.
And it's... because like she like the actress not super attractive.
No, I think she has her like parts where like, oh, she's cute there.
Yeah, but like sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, that is the hottest archaeologist on Earth. That is not realistic, because sorry to any archaeologists out there, but like I expect my archaeologist to,
be old.
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, to be old, or to be like look like I don't have any friends, so I study dinosaur bones. That's horribly stereotypical of me. But yeah, you get a movie where you get that, and you're like, oh yeah, or like you got like that's the kung fu master of the police force who could take anybody down, and it's like a 104-pound like skinny big boobed blonde, and you're like, no, that's it's not.
So like, okay, so like Shaw in this movie is very like in the middle. Like she's like cute in some parts, but she looks like kind of like, oh yeah, she'd annoy the shit out of me if she was my boss part.
Oh, right.
Oh man, but yeah, and so in the morning he wakes up, he notices like something wiggling in his eye, which is always gross. Eye stuff freaks me out.
Yeah, he wakes up with a bad case of pink eye.
David probably farted in his eyes. But no, so yeah, we do wake up in the morning. They can't get a hold of Fifield and the biologist, and so they make the trek over there. And
right, because now the storm's gone. They're like, hey, we can go back over and continue our exploring.
The group splits up from David. David finds where the puppers like
right, because as they're getting there, the captain says, hey, one of the puppers must have a glitch because it's showing that there's life.
Mm-hmm.
And so David's like, well, you guys go look for
Fifield,
and I'm gonna go. I know how to fix the puppers, so I will go fix it.
Yeah. And so at this point, they find Fifield and the biologist, both dead.
Right.
What's it called? And then at this point, Holloway is very infected with the goo. And so they try to make their way back. At the same time, David opens up the doors into the cargo bay where there's more of the black goo, and then opens up the door more into the starship, or like the captain's board or whatever.
Yeah. And David, during this 2-year trek out there, has studied all these ancient languages. So like the hieroglyphics and stuff that are on the wall and stuff like that, he can kind of read, because he's put together like the 9 ancient languages where they found the different hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
And he's put those languages all together to be able to semi-read.
And the engineers, the engineers' language. And so they find like the starboard or bridge or whatever, and then another memory thing goes on, or like a recording.
Right, yeah.
And we see that the thing was gonna head for Earth, and then he sees a stasis pod where an engineer is actually in stasis.
Yeah.
Puts his ear to it, he could hear the heartbeat, and he's like super excited.
And those are good stasis pods, because 2,000 years, this thing. Right. That's how long the alien was dead after his head got cut off. So that means that's how long this guy's been in stasis.
Right. Yeah. And so this sort of like this part of the movie where it starts to go by really fast. They do make it back to the ship, but then Charlize Theron, or what's her name? Like Vickers. Yeah. She flames Holloway down because he's infected, and she's like, that guy's not coming on our ship, which is the right move.
And he knows that. He's like, flame me down.
Yeah, because then I think at some point you already know when it's over, right?
Right, yeah. He knows he's infected, and he knows he's going to be quarantined. He's not going to be able to go back to Earth no matter what.
Yeah. And then, Shaw, she sort of like passes out from being angry, or like the shock of her boyfriend or husband dying.
Yeah.
But we find out that she's actually 3 months pregnant, which is impossible because they've only been awake for like 4 days, and they had sex 10 hours ago, so that's impossible. But then she's
infertile,
yeah, of course. But before they can put her in quarantine after David like put her back to sleep, she actually makes a run for it, and she goes into the med pod that was in Vickers' quarters and has it removed.
Yes.
And it is this very gross arthropod looking thing. But this also just made me look at like, yeah, you know what? A woman could go through that. Me, I would have passed out and died probably. Because like the med pod, it cuts her open and then staples her back closed. And I was like, nope, I would have passed out from the...
Right. And there's an interesting weird hint because the med pod's in Vickers' room, and Vickers is obviously a woman. But when she goes and says, hey, I need a cesarean section, it says this med pod is...
made for men.
Made for men.
Right. But she's a smart girl. Or smart woman. Sorry.
Yeah.
And she kind of bypasses it with saying it's abdominal removal of a foreign object in her body. So super cool, thinking on her feet. But when she wakes up, this is where we find out that the chameleon Guy Pearce as Wayland is actually on the ship, who put himself in stasis like days before he was gonna die.
Right. And I mean, it was a pretty quick after. They didn't keep much of a mystery on it, but I was like, that's why that the pod was calibrated for a male, because when they wake up this ancient guy, he's gonna need this pod to keep him alive.
But it's really funny though, because like when they put the mech suit on him, sort of to help him walk, he's walking like the floor is lava. So I'm really gonna speed through this now, just because like I want like 15 minutes of us talking about like the movie.
Right.
But yeah, and so they go back into the ship. It's Shaw, David, Wayland, and a group of them. They go back to the ship to wake up the engineer. They do wake him up. David talks to it in its language, and at first it seems like it's impressed that this one of its like little subjects or was able to speak their language. But I feel like the moment he put his hand on its head, he found out it was a robot.
Right.
And that's probably what angered him, and it rips off his head and then uses its head to beat up Wayland. Yeah. Hilarious.
Right. And Wayland's old enough. It just... one good smack and he's broken.
Probably one bad sneeze would have cracked his. But before this, Shaw does find out that it was headed for Earth, this ship. But then she knows that there's like this like goo that's able to just destroy all life.
Right, and they kind of put it together with the captain who kind of.
Who says
plays
the military
dumb, but I got the impression that he was like old retired military, and now he's like captaining these space freighters,
it's just as a retirement job.
A retirement thing. And so he plays like, oh, I'm just a captain, I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
But like he throws out little nuggets of like knowledge where you're like, oh yeah, he knows way more than.
Yeah, well, because before they go in there, he says this might be a military base because they're not dumb enough to make weapons of mass destruction on their home world.
Right, yep.
And so, Shaw puts it one and one together and realizes that this ship was meant to go to destroy Earth. And so she makes it out to warn the ship. And then the only people that's left on the ship is Wong, Idris Elba, sidekick guy that we never get the name of, and Charlize Theron. And Idris Elba being Idris Elba and Benedict Wong being Benedict Wong. They fly the ship into the alien spaceship.
Yep, a little self-sacrifice.
Right. Always, you know what? There's always a win for self-sacrifice. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, the ship comes crashing down. Charlize Theron ends up getting squashed by the ship, while Shaw barely makes it out alive. She goes into the ship that Vickers was supposed to be in, her little living quarters.
Yeah.
She goes in there to re-up on oxygen, but then she keeps hearing this slap or something like thumping around. She finds out it's that little baby thing that came out of her, which is like, man, that's like the hugest face hugger ever. David warns Shaw that the engineer is coming after her.
Right, because even though David's decapitated, he still
functional.
He's still functional. He's a robot head. So.
Yeah. and so she lures him towards that area and then opens the doors to have the face hugger attack him. Yeah. Super gross though. It is just really gross.
Right.
It's so big. It's very H.P. Lovecraftian.
It is. Terrors. It is awesome. Again, with the bad science, you don't have exponential growth on something that's the size of a small squid into the size of something that's like a Cthulhu when there's nothing to eat in there.
Right. There's no nutrients for it to grow.
Yeah, but we'll ignore that.
But yeah, and then so David convinces Shaw to save him, and he's like, "There's another ship. I can take you there, and we can go home." Shaw says, "No, I want to go to them and ask them why did they cancel destroying us after creating us?"
Right.
And then before we cut to the credits, this is where we see the engineer's body start twitching, and then it's not exactly a xenomorph because it has more human qualities, like it has a more human body.
Right. Because
it stands up on all twos, but it's sort of because I think it's because the DNA is so much closer to the original. It's like, this is why they outlawed cousins dating. Because you're too close. But yeah, and so it's and then I put on Twitter that there has to be a comic about the loneliest xenomorph. Because I don't think there's anything else on that planet, right? You never know.
Worms.
But yeah, so we end the movie with like Shaw and David going to the engineer's planet to find out what happens, and then we also end up with this cliffhanger type where like there's a xenomorph-ish type of being. And
I actually, and then you said Covenant. I didn't even realize that I knew Covenant was after this, but I didn't realize there was any kind of connection. Like when you said, "Oh, David is in Covenant," I had no idea there was that much connection between the two movies.
Oh, it's a sequel. It's a direct. Well, because I think at this point they're like, okay, there was like a mix-up with marketing where people didn't know this was an Alien movie, and so they're like, all right, let's put Alien on it so people know it's a sequel to the Prometheus movie.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't too bad because in that movie you get to sort of see different kinds of xenomorphs and neomorphs.
Okay. Does it answer some of the questions?
Yes. Not really.
Or is this kind of like one of those things where like they'll just intentionally never answer those questions so that there's always that background discussion of like, oh, where did these things come from and how did it really start?
Well, I think Prometheus was Ridley Scott's way of trying to explain the xenomorphs or the alien movies.
Right.
But that they were... So, like, do you want to know, like, what happens in Covenant, or do you want to watch it, and then we could talk about it next time?
Right. I'll watch it. I wanted to see it, I just never did, and I did not realize...
That it was a sequel?
Yeah.
Well, like, what were some of the questions that you, like...
Well, like, some of the things, like does it... in Covenant, do they find the engineers? Does any of that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I won't ask that. I'll watch that movie. I didn't get this at all the first time I watched it, but the second time, like today when I watched it, when Charlize Theron says, or when Idris Elba asks her if she's a robot, I was like, holy crap, she's a robot.
I don't know.
David's a robot, and like this is his other kid because she calls him dad. So obviously, but like,
well, but then David calls Vickers mother,
right? So I don't think maybe that's the family. Like,
I don't know. See,
he makes her, and then she made him.
I see. That's what is a big debate in this because no one ever knows if Vickers is a woman or a robot or not.
Right.
Like a lot of us would like to presume that Idris Elba slid between those sheets.
Right. And it doesn't matter if it's a robot or not. she could have those parts. Hell, he's a creepy old man. That's probably how she started.
Oh, honestly, I would like to believe. Well, I don't know, because it's weird because she acts very. It seems like she acts rational and irrational at the same time, whereas David goes off pure curiosity and wanting to. He has like a lot of the key parts of becoming a mad scientist type of thing. He is an insatiable curiosity.
Right. And then she's much more protective. Like, she's protecting the ship, she's protecting the company, she's protecting the old man.
So I don't know. Maybe she is a robot.
Yeah, that didn't even cross my mind the first time I watched it, and then this time it seemed like, to me, once he said it, it was like so obvious. Like, holy crap, she's totally a robot.
Well, but then why would she have to be in stasis?
Bishop was in stasis in the Alien movie.
Well, I don't know. Yeah,
in the first Aliens, like, it's just they're playing the part of the human to be part of the crew, so that's what they do.
Oh, but see,
and you never saw her in stasis.
Who?
You saw her just doing some exercises and stuff.
Well, it's
so you don't know.
Presumed, right?
And it was separate from everybody else's stasis, so you don't know how close of a stasis pod. It may have just been like a robot regeneration pod that she was in the last month.
Well, okay, so like when you watch the second one, it sort of answers the questions of them being too real.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's really hard because it's up for discussion. It's just a mystery that will never be
right.
Unless Ridley Scott was like, yeah, she was a robot. Oh man. So Kobe, what did you think about it when you first saw the trailer for this movie?
Just stoked. When I very first saw this, I was just like, oh my god, we got to see this. Must have been like the first comic store, because we had a big group of us all went and saw it. We went and saw it like.
No, this is 2012. Is that still was your first comic store still open? No, I think this is maybe the second one.
Yeah.
I think that was like probably your first year.
At the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a group of us. We all went and saw this. This was a little side note. This was like early of 3D movies that I'd seen. And I'd seen a couple. I may have talked about this before. I've seen a couple 3D movies where they like go over the top of like, let's throw as much stuff at your face as we can. Mm-hmm. And I hate 3D movies like that. Not that I'm scared of them or spooks me or anything, but it just seems like a ridiculous selling trick.
Yeah.
And it just gets annoying. This was 3D and nothing pops out at you, but it was incredibly impressive that in space, when they're walking through the tunnels, they use a 3D like to push everything back, so everything had like depth. It made space seem so deep, and the ship was flying out in space, and it made like when the doors open, that the cave just seems so like massive because the 3D kind of pushes it back.
Oh, see, so that's like the right way to use 3D to like immerse you more.
It's really the only movie I ever saw. I've probably only seen 4, maybe, but it's the only movie I saw in 3D where I was like, this was done right with 3D. Every other movie was like Journey to the Center of the Earth with The Rock. I was like, that was dumb. I wish I had not seen that in 3D because they just...
You paid $3 extra to watch it in
3D. They just stop and throw stuff at your face, and it's just like, oh...
Yeah.
You do that once. I don't need it 9 times during the movie.
But yeah, when I saw this trailer, I was not like at first was not excited. Maybe at that time I was maybe having like space movie fatigue. Maybe I don't remember. You know what would have been really good? Side note, you know what would have been really good in 3D? Probably Sunshine.
Yes.
But yeah, so I don't think I was excited. I think I just rented this out of boredom on Redbox and was just like thoroughly surprised. Kobe, did you have any favorite parts in this movie?
I don't know. There was a lot of good parts. like you said, when it removes the little xenomorph, or not the xenomorph, but the little face hugger thing from her.
Painful. That's what it looked like
when it aborts the baby.
Yeah.
That was super duper cool
and super intense.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's got like the pain injector, and she stays awake and she keeps injecting herself.
Yeah.
Like you could tell it starts to hurt and she's screaming, and then all of a sudden she's like,
I think
morphine.
Yeah. Well, I think she waits until the very moment that she's about to pass out that she has to. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
And then the design, even though it shouldn't have been so big, the design of the Cthulhu-is face hugger thing coming out of that room and grabbing the
oh, it's so gross.
It was just massive, and it seemed practical. I don't know if it was practical or
I think it's like half and half.
Yeah, it was well done. That was so cool.
It's so gross though. Like it really freaks me out that it had extra tentacles to like hold it the head in place.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, so gross. I think the only thing that like ruined it for me is when it would inject its like penis or whatever into the mouth. I think that was the most CG part of that thing. But I think the rest of it was like practical, because like, it's cool when it like falls down over onto the engineer and you can almost see its like spine, and it's just like man. I think my favorite part is probably just like the beginning with David, just because it made me like
riding the bicycle and like
and just skyhooking it.
Yeah, shooting 3-pointers.
Yeah, well, I just like, I think maybe it's just reminiscent of the time right now. But well, when we recorded this is when everything is in lockdown, so it kind of it rang extra hard with me. But no, it's just like it made me totally forget that there's always like a cyborg on ship.
Right.
Because I don't know, it's just like, man, he's just doing normal ass things. It sort of like sets you in this normalcy before it gets into this like big grand adventure and science fiction of the film.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's really weird. Also, just everything Idris Elba did in this movie was fun.
Right. He was he was very reminiscent of the space sergeant from Aliens.
Right.
Like he reminded me of that part, even though he was that other in Aliens, he's almost like over the top comical. Like he's like so stereotypical that he's like silly.
Yeah, but it's also like if he is like retired military and this is just like another like space run for him. It's probably just something he's just like, well, I gotta keep my head in the positive side, or else I might shoot myself one day. Oh man, and also, man, so as much as I didn't like Holloway in this, like, because he just had like a very strong animosity towards David without it ever being deserved.
Right.
I think it kind of like, if it had toned down just a little bit, it almost would have felt like a brother relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it would have been really interesting if they had never acknowledged that he was a robot until the end. I think that would have blown my mind a little bit more. Like, oh my god, he was a robot the entire time.
Right.
Oh man. So we were reaching a little bit, or we're getting close to the hour. So we're gonna go to the review, or like the ratings. But yeah, if this is your first episode, the way we rate movies is stream it, DVD it, Blu-ray it, and Ultimate Box Collection. And so, Kobe, what would you choose from this movie?
What? I am after seeing it the first time, I was totally like, this would just be like a DVD. Mm-hmm. It was good and I'd like to have it in my collection, but the bad science is enough to like pull me out of it. After watching it today, there is, I would love to see like an extended director's cut kind of thing, because there's a lot of parts where I felt like it was rushed, and it was like, if they would have been like, they were out there for 3 weeks doing this, not 3 days, it would seem more plausible and realistic. So I would love to see like just it extended out a little bit.
Also, like a director's cut, type of thing. Okay. So where are you putting this?
So I'm thinking, like if they've got something like that, I would love to pick up a Blu-ray with that, because I mean, like the effects and the filmology, the filming of it is beautiful, and I think it definitely warrants a Blu-ray.
Right. See, I would love to go box collection, just because I know in the box collection it would have Covenant with it as well. But just as a standalone, I don't think there's enough beautiful shots in here that would make me want to go for the box, like Ultimate Edition. So, but I bet, like, I definitely think on the Blu-ray there would be a bunch of like lore videos, or like expanding the lore on this whole thing. Yeah. And so I'd probably go Blu-ray too. I mean, it still holds up. You know, it's only been 8 years to say that it still holds up, but I think
the way things progress as rapidly as they do on technology, I mean, I mean 8 years is. I mean, even like you go for like Transformers 1 versus Bumblebee, like. There's a big difference.
Is there?
And when Transformers 1 came out, I was like, this is the most impressive movie I've ever seen.
And it just keeps getting better. But I definitely, this is definitely like a movie to show other people who maybe have never gotten into the Alien franchise, and a good starting point.
Oh, definitely.
Where it doesn't go into the crazy xenomorphs yet, where it sort of like eases you into like, yeah, these things will fuck your face. Like, because we don't get to see that until the very end, you know? And I'm like, that's still terrifying. But, and it's, man, I remember watching it with my friends, and they're like, oh my God, this movie's so good. Just because it really sucks you into the science side of it, even when there's, like, bad science choices. Because I do remember, like, when they're examining that head, me and my friends were like, why are you not having, like, any protection? Like,
Right.
But then when they got to the end where they find out that it was like a Aliens movie, like, oh man, this was so good. I did hear that, like, I never watched any other Aliens movies after Aliens. Like, it goes Alien and then Aliens, and then there's like 3, and then the one where there's like a half xenomorph, half human or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I only watched the first 2, but I think this is like, as a prequel to the original 2, I think this totally fits. Yeah. And it's a fun watch.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah. So, guys, this is the end of the episode. Hope you guys stay tuned for next month's theme. And, I hope you guys enjoyed everything. Please, if you guys have any requests or any comments, review us. We're on Google. We're on iTunes. Our email and Twitter are down below, so you guys can contact us and follow us and all that stuff. Hope you guys enjoy.
If you have any suggestions, send us suggestions.
Yeah.
Show us some love. Show us some hate.
Anything. Show us anything.
Yeah.
Boobs. Oh, man. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'm Barry.
And this is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. If you guys want to check out who does our theme music, it is Lee Rosevere. It's called Arcade Montage. Her Bandcamp is down below.
Thank you.